Good evening, everyone. I'm going to give everyone a couple minutes to log on before I start with introductions. If you are logged on right now, there's a tiny URL on my screen or on your screen that is for taking attendance. I just want to make sure that everybody, because it is a mandatory meeting, so I want to be sure that I get everybody that is here, their attendance. I'm going to try to put this also in the chat so that you can just click on it. All right. Again, for those of you just entering, I'm going to start at exactly 1 minute or so. Um, let me 1 second. Let me make sure that form, the tiny URL is working. It is. Let me make sure that everyone has access. Okay. So those of you that were not able to take attendance, you should be able to take attendance now. I have updated the permissions for that. Access has been updated. You should be able to access the form. I am looking at the responses, so it looks like several people are able to access it. Please try again. Just refresh the link. I would like students and parents both in this presentation. So if your student is not with you, please make sure that they are. And this is a recorded um, presentation. So if for some reason your student is not able to watch this presentation live, please make sure they are watching the recording. Um, the link is available for all. Anyone with the link can use it. It's not just for students. But yes, this presentation is for both students and parents. We do go over a lot of the next steps in this presentation and what's going to be required of students. It's mostly for students, I would say, less for parents and more for students. So please, students, if your student is not on, if they're available, please have them also watch the presentation. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Wajma Islami. I'm one of the counselors at the high school. Online today is also the early college coordinator for Delta College, Miss Candace McGee, and she's going to chime in as needed to clarify um, if anything needs to be clarified. So you'll be hearing from her as well. All right. So just for the sake of everyone's time, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the presentation. I am not going to try to give I'm going to try to give as much information as possible. It is not a long presentation, so I will leave some room at the end for questions. If you have questions, I won't be able to see the chat. So if you'll wait till the end, we will have an opportunity to answer some questions as well. So just the program requirements that we have already gone over multiple times in our last presentation. Students must maintain a 3.0 high school GPA and a Delta College GPA as well. So if their GPAs are shifting, there will be some conversations that we'll have once they're in the program. They must pass all of the high school and college courses. So if students are failing either a high school class or a Delta College class, they will be removed from the program. They must be meeting all high school graduation requirements. And this is really important because some of the high school graduation requirements students will take as part of early college. And so it becomes more important for them to continue to pass their classes and do well in both high school and college. And they must follow the cohort class schedule. When I say follow the cohort class schedule, I mean exactly the classes that we tell them to take are the classes that they should be taking. They should not be taking classes, similar to, or maybe they have the same course number, but it's a different professor. It should be the classes that are designated for cohort students. The program benefits, so you are guaranteed spots in your cohort classes by following timely directions. What that means, you're only guaranteed for a certain amount of time. And if you're not able to register for classes on time or submit a CES form, and we're going to talk more about what that is, on time, then you are no longer guaranteed the spot. So Delta College can only do so much with saving spots per se, before they have to open it up to the rest of the Delta College students for them to sign up for classes. Other program benefits. So as classes get harder and more challenging within the cohorts, within the years, juniors and seniors are able to take 3 flex periods in their junior year and 3 flex periods in their senior year. There are 6 classes that students get to there are 7 classes in total, actually, that students get to articulate onto their high school transcript, and, one of the exceptions to the articulation is that you don't have to follow the articulation timeline of the high school. As long as we know that you're enrolled in the classes, Delta college students I mean, early college students get to, um, have those courses articulated. You get experience with college courses and gain college readiness, and then you'll either earn a CalGETC or an associate's degree, depending on what path students decide to take. So there are, even within this cohort, there are 2 paths available for students. Just for an example, I'm gonna just get started with what classes they'll be taking in the fall. Cohort 12 will be taking History 2B and Counseling 19 in the fall. Counseling 19 is a 1 unit class, so it won't be as academically challenging as maybe the History 2B, which is a 3 unit class. So they won't be taking Counseling 19 for the entire semester. I believe it's shortened in time. These are the college classes. On the left side, I should have labeled this, but on the left side, are the classes at Delta College, and on the right side are the classes that they translate to at Mountain House High School. All of the college classes are weighted, okay? So that means that they are on a 5-point scale and a 4-point scale. So in a regular class, an A is worth 4 points. In a Delta College class that gets articulated, that weight is 5 points. So that means that A is worth 5 points. Okay, if they get a B, it's worth 4 points, where a regular B is worth 3 points. Okay, so these are the classes that students in the program get to also articulate onto their high school transcript. This is what the transcript looks like once the class is added. So it doesn't say, for example, this student took the political science class. We translate it onto the transcript where it shows San Joaquin Delta College. It shows the exact class that was taken at Delta College, the grade that was earned, and the points issued. So as you can see, a regular C is worth 2 points, but because it is a weighted class, it is worth 3 points. Okay, and so it doesn't show. I get a lot of questions. Well, is it going to show as AP Government on my transcript? No, it's going to show as American Government, the political science class. That's the title of the class, American Government. You can never take an AP class. Well, I don't want to say never because I don't know, but you can't take an AP class at Delta College. AP classes are for high school. Okay, so like right here, you can see US History AP looks a little bit different. This was at Mountain House High School. This one is at Delta College. All students will start on the CalGETC track, where it's 2 classes per semester in years 9 and 10. So in ninth grade, fall and spring, they take 2 classes, and in 10th grade, fall and spring, they take 2 classes. Um, in the spring, the beginning of the spring of their sophomore year is when they can decide if they wanna stay and just do the CalGETC track, or if they want to switch and do the associate's degree. Okay, I am going to switch tabs for a second just to kind of show everyone what the differences are between iGETSI, CalGETSI's, and so this is what the cohort plan is for cohort 12. It may change throughout the year. Sometimes some classes are no longer offered, but um, the CalGETSI track is only 2 classes for fall and spring of all 4 years, okay? Now the associate's degree adds a summer of 10th grade and a summer of 11th grade. So that is the difference between the 2 pathways, and they don't have to decide until the spring of their sophomore year. So they have time. Everybody starts in the exact same way, and in the spring of their sophomore year, once they've had a little bit more experience, they will get to decide if they want to take the summer courses or if they just want to complete the lower division general education requirements for UCs and CSUs and skip out on the summers. That is totally up to them.
Marsha, can I point something out?
Yes.
So, hi, this is Candace McGee, the ECP coordinator. I wanted to also mention that the students that are, if they choose the associates option, they will also get a CalGETSI.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, so this was what I showed. Again, just to let families and students know that this is what they're signing up for as being part of early college. As you can see, in the spring of their senior year, there are 3 classes that they have to take, whether they're doing associate's degree or CalGETSI. All seniors in their spring will be taking 3 classes. Yeah. So the reason why I say juniors and seniors can have 3 flex periods is because these classes do get a little bit more challenging as we move on through the program. Um, yeah, these are just showing like the classes that I had mentioned and how they get articulated onto the high school transcript. So again, I already discussed this, but the difference between CalGETSI and doing the associate's degree are the 2 summer sessions. Okay. CalGETSI is just lower division general education requirements that are transferable to UCs and CSUs. So it doesn't matter what major students are pursuing or what college they're going to. Um, CalGETSI is pretty general. So these are just general. It doesn't matter if you're engineering or biomed. These are just general education requirements. Doesn't get based upon the major you are trying to pursue. So how to choose between CalGETSI and associate's degree. So like I mentioned a lot of this, but I just want to reiterate, they have a lot of time to get some college experience. They'll learn a lot in their Counseling 19 class about what an associate's degree is, what CalGETSI is, what college in general is. So I don't want to discuss it in too much depth because we don't have to make this decision until the spring of their sophomore year. But we already discussed what the differences were. So understanding a student's role as a college student, it might be a little bit difficult jumping right from 8th grade into being a high school student and also a college student. So it's important to make sure that your student is mature, that they can handle the workload. You know, we have a lot of bright students, but that doesn't mean that they're self-motivated in completing tasks and completing work. And being a part of early college means that you have to be self-motivated. You have to conduct yourself in a respectful manner. Make sure you're not over committing yourself to sports and extracurriculars and high school classes and college classes. In the past few years, we have been noticing a lot more plagiarism within these college classes. And it's a little different than high school, where high school, maybe you have an opportunity to redo a test or retake an assignment or what have you. Professors at Delta College are not going to be as nice about it. If you get caught cheating, they may give you an F in the class. It may show up on a transcript that you cheated and you were kicked out of a class. By kicked out, I mean you earn the F. So cheating has been brought to our attention by several professors at Delta College, and it has become more common just with the easy access to AI. So if your student has been caught cheating in the past, or maybe you feel like this isn't you don't want them to resort to cheating, this might not be the right program because the Delta College transcript is a permanent record, and I would hate for a student to already damage their transcript by taking on too much and they can't handle it and resorting to cheating. College classes will not be tailored to high school students. In the past few years, I've had parents reach out and be like, my son or daughter is learning X, Y, and Z. I don't want them to learn that. We have no authority over what the Delta College professors are teaching. Some students may have adult students some classes may have adult students in those classes. So they are not tailored to high school students. It is important for students to register on time for classes, routinely check their Delta College and Mountain House High School email, turn in required forms. Like I said earlier, classes are guaranteed for early college students, but if they're not submitting their forms on time, it is no longer guaranteed. And then, of course, making sure that they're passing their classes and following all the rules that we have set for them. These are just some rights under FERPA. So under no circumstance should students' information, grades, or progress in class be disclosed to any individual without a signed release of information. Students under the age of 18 are entitled to the same confidentiality restrictions as adult students. So that means that parents are unable to call Delta College and get progress or grade updates. Delta College will not speak to parents on behalf of students. Any concerns about requests for release of information should be discussed with your division dean at Delta College. All right. So as students are applying to Delta College, and I will talk about the next steps in a little bit, I just want families to understand what a Delta ID number is. So a Delta ID number starts with 1000 and then has some extra numbers. And this is important because this number they're going to use to access their Delta account, register for classes, schedule counseling appointments. This is how Delta identifies students. It's just like the same way Mountain House High School students will have an ID number. Delta College students will also have an ID number. I already discussed this a little bit, but it's really important for students to check both their Mountain House High School email and their Delta email. All right. So this is we refer to a CES form. It's a college early start form. Students will complete this form every single semester. So the process is a student will initiate the form, then put in the parent information. Once the student initiates the form and completes everything they need to complete, it will go to the parent for a signature. It all happens electronically. And once the student and parent both sign, it will come to me for a signature. Okay, so when it's asking for high school counselor for all early college students, you will put my email address and my information. Okay, and then once the form gets signed by me, it goes to Delta College and it takes about 1 business day for them to remove the hold. So for students that don't complete this form, there is a hold put on their account, stopping them from registering for classes. So that's why this whole process of just doing things in a timely manner is so important so that everybody has an opportunity to do their part and it gets submitted on time to register for classes. And this again, every single semester that students are taking classes, they will complete a college early start form. And we do have meetings and things like that each semester to help students hold their hand a little bit and just remind them of what they're doing so that they don't forget. But it's important, again, for students to check their email addresses and make sure they're coming to those scheduled meetings so that they learn this information. This is just what a CES form looks like, and I'm just going over it just in case you wanna come back to this video and look at it. Students will put their name, their Delta ID number. If they don't have a Delta ID number yet, they cannot submit this form yet. They'll put their grade level, their graduation date, and they'll put their course number that will be provided to them, the course title, the units. Most courses are 3 units, and then the term they'll be all of this information needs to be completed accurately, otherwise Delta will kick it back and not release the hold, and we'll have to redo it. After students complete a college early start form, a CES form, they'll log into and it has been cleared, so not immediately after, but once it has been at least 1 business day, then that's when they'll go in and register for classes. Miss McGee, they're still registering for their classes, right? Delta's not doing it for them?
That's correct.
Yeah, so that means that now the next step, and this is again every single semester, so students need to complete the college early start form. Once the hold is removed from their account, they will log into their Delta account and then sign up for their classes or enroll in their classes. And the class numbers are usually given to them so that it is an easier process. However, there's still steps each semester that students must do. It doesn't automatically happen. They have to log in and do it each semester.
And we are asking that students enroll on their enrollment day, not after, um, because we want to make sure that they get those seats in the classes. And so it's really important that they enroll on their enrollment day. And we'll go over that, when we check in later. But I'll probably send an email out to all the new students about that, so that they know where to find their enrollment day and all that.
Yeah. So again, like I said, the classes are only guaranteed if they're doing it in a timely manner. Once like it's past their enrollment date, there's very little that we can do to support them. Just some reminders, students should be passing their classes with C's or better. If they're mainly getting C's, their GPA will drop and they will be removed from the early college program. Being removed from the early college program doesn't mean they can't continue to take Delta classes. It just means that the same rigor that we're requiring them to take classes will no longer be pressured onto them. They can take it at their own speed, maybe once they have more time or in the summers or however they like to do it. Again, 3.0, they must maintain a 3.0 GPA. And then students failing classes or cheating in classes and any of that will automatically be removed. If you're trying to figure out how much time each class might take, this is just kind of some information that I've found that might be close to. So 1 unit is about 1 hour of class time. I know some classes may be asynchronous. However, just to time it properly based upon everything else that students are doing, it is important to be well-rounded. So if students are in a lot of extracurriculars and sports, early college and the way that it's set up might not be the right fit. Maybe just taking Delta classes on your own might be the better fit, but that's something that you and your students will have to figure out. This is really important. I had this come up just this semester. Some classes may require textbooks, although all of the classes are free for high school students, and it doesn't matter from what I understand about um, whether you are permanently in California or not, right, Miss McGee? As long as they're a high school student, it's free?
Yes, as long as they're a high school student, tuition is free.
Tuition is free. Yes, as long as you're a high school student, tuition is free. But some classes may require textbooks or maybe other material or whatever it is, and those are those fees are on the families. Okay. If your student qualifies for free or reduced lunch, you can reach out to me and I can check if resources are available. However, if there are textbook costs or material costs or anything like that outside of the tuition, those are for students and parents to figure out. All right. So that's pretty much what I had. Miss McGee, if there's anything that I missed, if you wanted to add, otherwise I will take some questions. If you want to put it in the chat, I'll try to follow that. If you want to use this link to ask the questions, I'll check that as well.
Yes, I just wanted to kind of reiterate what Mrs. Lamy said. So we do meet with the students every semester to provide them course information for the following semester. So yes, they are provided all of the class information that they need for their CES form and to enroll in those classes.
I have a question asking what happens to all the rest of the classes that students take outside of the 7 that I talked about that gets articulated. So when students are applying to UCs and CSUs, they get to report all of the classes that they are taking. So UCs and CSUs will see all of the classes that students are taking. And so there's a section, a college section on both applications where students are able to report all of their classes. So it doesn't go away, it's still on their Delta College transcript.
Also, I wanted to mention that all of the units do transfer, um, except for maybe a total of one unit. For example, if there's a class that is an ECP class, I can't remember which one it is, but say it's a 4 unit class, um, they might only be able to transfer 3 of those units, not four. But for the most part, they all transfer.
I do wanna share just some resources on our high school website. I'm getting a ton of questions that are not related to early college that are about taking classes at Delta in general. So if you're not interested in early college, however, you wanna take classes at Delta, on the Mountain House High School page under counseling, if you go to non-MHHS, we have all of the information here for you, including next steps and everything else. I also wanted to show you guys, we have an early college page where if you're interested in looking at like cohort 12's plan and kind of looking, figuring that out, you can click this link and you see what that plan looks like. For those of you that entered maybe a little bit later, I am taking attendance. So if you wanted to go ahead and use the link that's on the screen to submit your attendance. I'm getting a question about how long students have to quit the program without getting a W on their transcript. Delta College has those dates. So they have fall dates where the last day to drop without a W. I don't know how long that is. Usually I would say like maybe 2 to 3 weeks before a dub that you get a W for withdrawing from the class. And then, Ms. McGee, do you have information as far as, like, when you want them to submit their application? Application, everyone should have started, it was a part of my email, but the college early start form, is there a deadline for that?
There is, but I think it's April something. I can't remember right now, but it's sometime in April.
And do you know what the turnaround time is right now for students to get their Delta ID once they submit their application?
Yeah, so it's usually 5 to 7 business days. So after 7 business days, if they haven't received it, they can email me so I can research why they haven't gotten that email yet. But I've had a lot of students recently who are saying they didn't get the email when in fact that they did. They, so they have to make sure that they're checking their emails because whatever email they submitted on the Delta application is where that email that they're waiting for is going to go. Um, and there was something else about that. Oh, yeah, check your junk and your spam folders too.
Okay. Um, I'm getting a lot of questions that I've addressed within the presentation. So I'm going to, just for the sake of everyone's time this evening, I am going to skip over that. This presentation is recorded, so you can go back and watch the presentation. Before I do that, I'm getting a ton of questions of the classes that are articulated. So we have English C1000, History C1001, Stats. This is the only extra class outside of what we normally articulate for everybody else that we do articulate. It's just one math class, History 2B, AP World History. Well, the equivalent. It's not going to show up on the transcript as an AP class. So these are the courses that do get articulated. I'm not seeing too many questions that we have not addressed. The 3.0 GPA for high school is a weighted GPA. As for the Delta College application, in the Delta College application, what was the highest grade you completed in high school? I think you can just put in ninth grade because this is assuming for the fall and you haven't really completed any grade. So you can just put in ninth grade.
That's correct.
It says if you drop out of early college during your junior year, for example, would the grades that you got during the earlier years still be counted for high school transcript? Yes, it will. Yeah. If you don't have a house phone yet, you can use your parents' information. If you don't have a personal email, I recommend creating one. That CCC account that you have to open up in order to apply to Delta will require a personal email account. So maybe now is the time to get a personal email account. Um, is the CES form open for the fall or not yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
it
So
opens on, I'm sorry, I think it opens on March 16th.
okay. So as long as you have applied, I will send more information after I get all the deadlines and timelines. Right now, everybody should have been um, applying to Delta College. That is the most important part. Just make sure you're applying to Delta College. And then the CES form won't open until March 16th. If you got an email, if you received an email from Delta College saying, "Are you sure you're in the right major?" You can disregard that email. I believe they send that um, to everybody. Courses will not be assigned automatically. So I already mentioned this information, but I will reiterate just because it's so important. Each semester, students are required to um, complete a college early start form and go into Delta College, their Delta College portal, and sign up for the classes. It will not automatically happen for them. If you wanted to drop out of early college right now, just send me an email and I can take you off the list. If you drop out of early college and you want to do dual enrollment, just let me know that you're not interested in early college and that you're going to do it on your own, and that's totally fine. As far as residency status, I'm not too familiar with that part of the application. But I think whatever you put won't make a difference as far as being a Delta College student. You can for if when you're putting ninth grade and it's asking for your English course grade, you can just put in the grade. Is that right? They could just put in the grades they have now?
Mrs. Slami, I was looking for the fall CES form date, and I don't think that that's the correct date that I gave.
Okay,
Um,
that's
yeah,
okay. I'll send once I have the date, I'll send it out as an email and just reiterating what the next steps are.
yeah.
Um,
Okay.
okay, I have someone spamming the questions, so I can't really see. Go ahead and update.
For the person that's asking about, I think they're asking about the number of units each class is. Typically, there are 3 units. Um, Mrs. Salami mentioned earlier, Counseling 19 is 1 unit, and some of the stats and, bio classes might be 4 units, but typically they're 3-unit classes.
For dual enrollment questions, outside of early college, please email your counselor, your assigned counselor. The application ID is different from the Delta College ID. We talked about what the Delta College ID looks like, um, and that's a little different. Yeah, so when you're saying that your what was the highest grade you completed in high school and you're selecting ninth grade, just go ahead and put your current English grade because it does ask for that. I don't know if you can leave it blank and move on. If you can't, just go ahead and put what you currently have in English.
Someone was asking if the fall 2026 schedule is out yet, and it is not. So no one can enroll for fall yet.
Yeah, so if students are no long so nowhere on the transcript does it indicate on the high school transcript does it indicate that students are a part of early college. So when students are entering and exiting, it doesn't reflect that on the transcript. So if students did not want to continue on after this presentation, they can just send me an email and I can remove them. It won't indicate anywhere that they were in the program and now they're not. Students will know what classes they need to enroll in once Miss McGee has that information and shares it with me, then I share it with all of you. So I send out an email letting you know, okay, these are the classes that you need to enroll in. So that's why right now, all we're doing is making sure that we've completed the Delta College application and we have our Delta ID, and then we're just going to wait for the next steps. Um, Early college is designed for only incoming freshmen. So if you don't decide to do it now, you would just do the other option that we have, and that's just doing it on your own. There is no start from 10th grade option. All right, we have a couple more minutes. We are on until 6:30 to answer any questions. I'm getting a question about how prestigious early college is. I wouldn't say that it's exactly prestigious. It really just depends on how your student performs in this program. If your student takes all these classes but isn't performing well, then it's not prestigious at all. Um, but it does show colleges that your student is able to take college classes and do well in them. All of the classes that are in person are at the Mountain House Delta College campus, which is about 2 minutes driving from the Mountain House High School campus. None of these classes that are in person at College through this program are offered on Mountain House High School's campus. They're all offered on Delta College's campus.
And those in-person classes at Delta College will be after the high school day.
Right, they're usually from, like, 6 to 9, unless it's the counseling one, it's a little bit earlier, but they're usually in the evening. Um, I'm getting a question if you can take more classes than what early college is telling you to take. You can, I don't see the purpose in that. Um, the maximum number of units you can take is 11, so however you wanna figure that one out.
And I prefer the we don't want students working ahead of the roadmap. So if they want to take extra courses, they have to be courses that are not ECP courses.
Yes. I'm getting a question if, like, cohorts change. Most of the cohorts take similar classes in the similar pattern. There aren't too many differences between, like, the cohort before you, and there probably won't be too many differences between the cohort after. As far as the number of in-person classes, I don't know that yet. It's going to just depend. With that said, if your student is playing a sport at Mountain House High School and they also have Delta College, your student will not be excused from Delta College classes because they're playing a sport at Mountain House High School. Delta College is, like I said, they treat you just like they would any other student, and if you miss too many classes, they may remove you from the class or fail you from the class. Attendance is very important at Delta College. So if you're trying to do, again, like I said, this program is not for everybody. If you're playing multiple sports and you have a ton of extracurriculars, this program might not um, work out because there are in-person classes that you must attend. And if you don't attend, they will remove you from the class. And if they remove you from the class, then you're just removed from the program. I don't know how many in-person classes there will be. I do know that in the summer, they do tend to keep the classes online, so it won't interfere with too much traveling that's asynchronous. That means you can do the class at your own pace. However, with that said, if you don't sign into the class within the first day, so if your class starts on June 5th, and that means you need to log on June 5th and do the assignments necessary, read the syllabus, and see what the class is about so that you are not removed. I have a ton of students being removed from the class within the first 2 days because they did not sign in and they did not do the assignments necessary. So, like I mentioned before, attendance is very important. I have a question about whether taking extra courses at Delta are helpful. I wouldn't say that they're helpful. I think what the cohort provides is just enough to get all of the benefits of doing early college. I don't think that students need to take more classes. If they're interested in pursuing major specific courses, then I think they could just do that on their own. They don't need to do the early college and additional courses, plus everything they're doing at the high school and continue to be a well-rounded student. It just seems like it's excessive. Yes, if students do early college, maybe their first semester and decide that that was maybe a little bit too much for them, they don't have to continue on in the next semester and they can continue to move on at their own pace by doing just like a dual enrollment type of program. I'm getting questions about whether juniors and seniors are forced to do three flex periods. They are not forced to take 3 flex periods. What I find is that they have completed a lot of their graduation requirements and high school classes through the program, so there isn't a lot more for them to take at the high school. However, if they wanted to take 7 classes and they can request that, they are not forced to take 3 flex periods. All right. That is all the time that we have for tonight. I hope I answered your question. I do feel like the presentation did address a lot of the questions that I'm getting. So as soon as this presentation is done, the same link that you enter the presentation will give you the recording for the presentation. All right. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Again, if you're not interested in the program or if there was a very specific question that I did not address, you're welcome to email me or your assigned counselor and we'll get back to you via email. Have a good night.